You are about to take a journey that will take you through the space-time continuum to a world full of nothing but geeks. Welcome to Galaxy of Geeks Podcast. Here are your hosts, Victor and Chris. Punch it!
So yeah, here we are, jamming here in Galaxy of Geeks Facebook group, and we figured we'd come in today. Apology accepted, Captain Nita. Thank you very much. Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching. We have a few topics we're going to talk about. Throw in some topics in the chat. We'll discuss those too. But I know there's been a lot of activity in the group this week, and then we also have Star Wars May the 4th coming up next week. So I'm definitely getting ready for that. I think today is the first day I haven't worn a Star Wars shirt. Actually, I think I've worn a Star Wars shirt like every day except today. I think I had to watch them all, so I got to reset now for the weekend going into May the 4th here.
You've got Star Wars Inc. though, so I mean it's always being represented.
Permanent. It's always being repped.
Yes.
Boom. So I think that we could just start talking about, I think, Clone Wars. I mean, I'm glad you caught up, because the last of us, I think it's either the Saturday mornings, because for some reason I haven't been watching them on Fridays. I've been watching them more on like Saturday mornings.
Right.
And I think the last bunch of Saturdays I just keep like messaging you being like, oh my God, that was awesome. Oh my God. And these last two episodes of Clone Wars have just been, they've blown me away.
I agree with you. And we've only got 2 episodes left after this. They said that it wraps up on the 8th. So yes, the return of a bunch of characters, Ahsoka coming back, this long arc that they've had with her. Maul coming back isn't the first time he's come back.
Nope.
They keep going back to the well with him, but
but at least it fits the timeline. No, I mean it's it makes sense for where they are, timeline was, and it does fill in the hole.
So with this too, I'm assuming that within these last 2 episodes they'll address where he is in Solo. And
we did get some Easter eggs in this last one. If you look hard enough, you see some Easter eggs that even you get a Solo reference in there.
Okay, spill the beans.
So spoiler, if you haven't seen this last episode of Clone Wars, so there's a point when you see Maul and he's underground with the Mandalorians and he's talking to holograms. Mm-hmm. And one of those holograms all the way to the right is Paul Bettany's character from Solo, which the name is escaping me right now, but that's him. Right. That's that character. And to the left, now I don't think it's Prince Izor from Shadows of the Empire, but it's definitely the Black Sun. And so it's part of that. I forgot the name of that alien species. So, it would be cool if it was Prince Zizor, because that would then make Shadows of the Empire, or at least that character canon, which would be nice. But at least it's that sort of, pulls in the Black Sun there, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so there is the quick nod to Solo, considering, he becomes basically the mastermind, the godfather of all the crime syndicates.
Do you think we'll have a reference to the Guavian Death Squad?
God, I can only hope so. I still think that's an amazing name for a band, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, Guavian Death Squad. I think it's a great name for a band or just a one-off song. Like, I think of that as like SOD, March of the SOD, or Sergeant D. That would just be an awesome. I wish SOD would do a new song and call it Guavian Death Squad.
Right. That's cool. And I mean, the other thing, they're already starting to factor in the whole Anakin and Sidious stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fill in the gaps, because they filled in the gaps for so many different things over the years where this has fallen short. Filoni has kind of, taken up the slack. And I know that some people have kind of bitched about about Clone Wars specifically, but I mean, I've been satisfied all along the way. I've been happy with everything they've done,
Yeah, and this season too, I mean, I was really excited for it to come back, and I love that, we got to see Bad Batch and a bit of that, because that was kind of cool, because that, based on those the kind of the lost season animatic stuff that they had they had previewed. So it was nice to see those episodes in full. I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, I just love seeing Ahsoka, but I wasn't a huge fan of the story arc with her and the sisters. And I mean, it was cool. It just wasn't like, I was like, oh man.
The older sister got annoying is the whole thing. And I don't know, it was one of those things where it kind of went too long, and you started seeing the Mandalorians come in to focus, and it was like, all right, let's let that take over, because we know this is going to be cool. Right. And there's so many things that could happen from now until Order 66. But I don't know. And that's another thing. They have to tell us what happens to Ahsoka when Order 66 takes place, because that's all up in the air. So there's still a lot that needs to be kind of seen over these last 2 episodes.
Right. And I think we're absolutely going to get that, because I think that this is going to probably butt up with the Ahsoka book, because the book basically takes place with her going into hiding. Okay. I mean, she's in hiding, but she moves around and she goes to this way out, like, distant planet to sort of really like hide out and like completely get rid of her. I mean, she doesn't have her lightsabers anymore. She actually, the start of that book is you find out that she takes her 2 lightsabers and she buries them and hide, like, because she doesn't want anybody to know she's fearing for her life. So, I got a feeling that we'll get right up there. I mean, right now we're in that, like, that whole moment between her and Obi-Wan, when it was like, oh my God, that was like kind of gut wrenching in a way. Cause it's like some of these things that could have made a difference, right? If they hadn't made him spy, like Obi-Wan was already doubting the Jedi Council, telling him to go spy. And he knew that was really conflicting. And then obviously him asking Ahsoka to check in on him, which that never happens. And then you get the moment too. Another spoiler alert here, everybody. So honestly, if you don't want to know about this last episode of Clone Wars, then you may want to turn away right now. But there's a great moment where Maul, basically in every Star Wars thing, right, asks her to join him to basically destroy Anakin. I mean, because Maul's not looking. Well, Maul's just looking to take him out, and she really thinks about it, and even says, "Yeah, I'll help you," but then just doesn't believe Maul's telling the truth about the visions he's had, which it is the truth. Like, he really did see what was going to happen, and of course, she just doesn't believe that Anakin could do that. And that's also sad, because it just goes to show like how he was so manipulated by Palpatine that he turned. I mean, to the point that, in Sith, I mean, he goes and he's killing people and he kills all those kids. I mean, it just gets
right.
He goes from total hero to like the worst kind of villain, like no heart or soul at all.
Complete 180.
Yeah. So it is cool seeing these bits. It is heartbreaking, but it just makes for such good storytelling.
I agree.
And it makes me excited to see a live action Ahsoka Tano.
It also makes me think of what's next. They've already announced that there's going to be a female-fronted animated series. We've talked about there being, a continuation of the Rebels storyline as well,
which would be awesome.
But I'm assuming there's gonna be something else. There has to be something else to bridge the gaps, and if not now, I think, much like what they're going to do with the Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff, I think we're going to see a continuation where throughout the year we're going to see series kind of flip flop, back and forth, where you're going to get a constant stream of, you're going to get 2 to 3 like animated series from out of the, Star Wars canon every year. You're going to see, a few Marvel related things. There's going to be a bunch of that happening because there's a lot of competition. Universal's coming out with the Peacock, Warner Brothers with HBO Max. Amazon has been fucking knocking it out of the park with all the series that they have, and they're still got a lot of stuff in the canon. They spent more money last year on developing new series than any other streaming service. Netflix is still putting out stuff from time to time that's worthwhile as well. So I think Disney, to kind of keep up with things, they have to continue to put out new material, new stuff that's going to keep people engaged and keep people subscribed. They also are at the disadvantage that they're going to be, removing things that are currently available. We talked about that a way back. There are still movies that they're licensing is owned by someone else. So the deal they worked out is that they would have it at the launch of Disney Plus for a few months, and then it would go back to, say, Netflix, and then it's going to be tacked on to the end of however long, the contract is with them. They are releasing episode 9 ahead of time, a month ahead of time, which is cool. And it also made me think about, what we had talked about a few weeks ago, how that impacts the market with people wanting to own the physical media. I think with Star Wars, it's a little different because obviously, there are a lot of collectors within, the fans. But there's going to be other things. I mean, I could potentially see, say, with the Marvel stuff, where some of the lesser known characters the sales aren't going to be as big as what they hope.
Right.
Just because people are going to say, you know what, it's going to be on Disney Plus in 4 months. I'll just wait.
Right. Well, that's, and honestly, that's why I didn't buy Rise of Skywalker on Blu-ray yet. But because first of all, too, they're going to release the sequel trilogy as its own like thing with all kinds of extra stuff.
Right.
And I'm just going to, I'm not buying the whole Skywalker legacy thing because I don't want to own. I already own the prequels. They're bad enough. And then, and I'm not buying another version of Empire Strikes Back. I'm not buying other versions of those unless they're going to release the original versions we grew up on. Not these tinkered around versions, special edition. But I will buy the set, whatever it comes out of the sequel trilogy, because I'm sure I'll be loaded with a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, I've got Disney Plus, and I being able to just watch Rise of Skywalker and that is good enough for me right now until they do come out with that cool collector's edition thing and with everything. And then I will buy that. That I think I would definitely invest in, because I'm sure it'll be loaded with really cool stuff, and hopefully like some of the deleted scenes and concept art stuff. I think they'll do a good job with it. But yeah, other than that, like to your point, yeah, why buy it? It's going to be on Disney Plus, so I'll just hold out. And
what you're saying about the older stuff, unless they, one, do the original versions, as you're saying,
right,
or two, put out like a 4K version that just is over the top with,
like all kinds of stuff, like loaded, and visually it just looks absolutely stunning, like, which I'm sure it would.
Right. But I don't even know if we'll get to that again, because with Disney Plus and with the advent of, being able to do 4K streaming, with the advent of, them throwing up a lot of the extras up on Disney Plus as well. They've got a lot of different features like which is what I think kind of fuels the whole Mandalorian documentary as well. They know that people would buy this stuff, so instead they're going to offer it via Disney Plus to continuously hook people in, because the service just started here last month, and I know a lot of people that are saying, I've seen all this stuff. Why do I want it? Why, I had my brother-in-law call today who wanted it just for National Geographics because he's huge in documentaries and stuff, but he's big on Marvel or Star Wars or stuff like that. And he was like, well, I've kind of seen all the National Geographic stuff. Why am I subscribed to this? And I was like, just wait. More stuff's gonna be coming out. You'll be able to get your hand on more things. But I don't know. We'll see how everything evolves. I think this ties a lot into the whole Trolls and the whole Universal and AMC thing as well.
Right. Exactly ties into that is, hey, what's up? Chris Marshwinsky's in the house. What up? Right on cue.
Yeah.
We should have him join in.
Well, does he have, did he work on your backdrop by any chance?
I don't know. He'd have to answer it. Did you work on this beautiful... this beautiful virtual backdrop? Yeah, we should get him in here. Hey Chris, if you want to jump in, let me know. I'll send you the link to jump in with us. I think we can do up to 3. So but yeah, I mean, this ties in great to your point. It was in the group, and I think Slammo posted the meme, and that's telling, man. I mean, that is the future of where things are going right now, with the industry. I agree that we're going to see more of it, and I think that I think we're going to see a lot more of that, and I think Trolls was a really awesome experiment and test case. I don't, I think you're going to start seeing a lot of the smaller films do it, in films like this. I forgot, someone said about, well, Jurassic Park, $500 million. Like, maybe not. I still think there's going to be a purpose for the theater experience, like the big movie theater experience. I think that's going to be a thing that will last. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. But I think that we're going to start seeing more of the Trolls type of thing happening, especially proven that it can make money, which is the ultimate.
Right. And we kind of talked about this when everything started up with the pandemic. I think chains like AMC are going to have to pivot, though. And I think they're going to have to start to offer more things. Like, I think you showed, you sent the picture, maybe it was Slammo, about some theater up in your neck of the woods, where they had like lazy boys, basically, and that you have waiters and they bring popcorn to you and they do the drink fills and stuff.
Yes,
like that.
They do. Yep. The one AMC in Clifton or West Orange or maybe both of them. I think they do that. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's something that they're probably going to have to apply to a lot more of their theaters. They're going to have to give you a reason to go. We mentioned this before, again, with home cinema, with OLED screens and all the 4K screens and everything that are just getting bigger and cheaper at the same time. A lot of people are going to prefer to stay at the home and watch these movies. They don't want to be bothered with having to drive, with having to pay $50 and bars. So who mentioned that? Bob. Okay.
Bob
is absolutely right. No one is gonna want to go and spend all that cash, or just people that are fanatics, geeks like us that love the experience are gonna be going. I think AMC is the perfect example of a corporation that just got too big. And let's be honest, I mean, they started crying poverty out of all this shit but they got $500 million last year from a Chinese company to stay afloat.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're having money issues now, it's their fault. It's not, it's not anyone else's, because it just seems to me like the typical example where they took the money, the board received the money, and they did nothing to say, hey, let's put a plan in place to make sure that we stay afloat. And essentially picking a battle with the biggest content provider in the world, because NBC Universal pumps out more series and movies than anyone else, is pretty fucking stupid, in my opinion. I mean, there's no other way of looking at it. Yeah, what you said is perfect. Trolls and smaller movies can come out, on video on demand, and some of the ones that make, a lot of money, I could instantly see, hey, we're going to be doing a limited run for a week. If it makes more than X amount of money, we'll keep it in the theaters. If not, hey, we tried it out. We made $100 million from VOD, and we don't need it anymore.
And it may be a case too where the films hit VOD faster than, I mean, a lot of times a movie leaves the theater and then you're like, it's months before it hits VOD.
Right.
Maybe that's not going to be the case anymore. It may do its run and then hit VOD like 1-2 weeks later, maybe. I mean,
right.
That could become the model too. Or you get the special, like, hey, we're going to release video on demand for 2 nights only or something like that. And then do a big theatrical release that, that'll, people will go to. Like, okay, so for instance, like, I think a good example too, where maybe now it would work better was the re-release of Infinity with the Infinity Wars, because they did a re-release because they wanted to make number one and they added that extra Hulk thing at the end. But and I know they put it back in the theaters again, but do you think that they would have had more success now thinking about it, like if they'd said, hey, we're going to release this limited VOD for 7 days or whatever, and like once if you want to see this special stuff, like now's the time to see it, or it's only good from Friday to Sunday, and if you want to see this special edition with extra stuff, bonus stuff, this is the time to do it. And it's whatever, $22, $25 to rent it, because you can just have all your friends over and watch it, and that
everyone, and
and that's fine, and that's totally fine. So you think about, okay, every household is like $22, $25, like to put it on video on demand. Like, could that have worked better than putting it back in the theater? I don't know. I mean, they made a lot of extra money doing it, and I just think you got to weigh it. But I do think that where we're at now, globally, right? I think I just think it's gonna take a while for people mentally to be okay with going back into a movie theater, especially a large movie where there's going to be a lot of people to see it, like a Jurassic Park, like what we have coming up, like Wonder Woman and Black Widow. There's going to be a lot of people who want to see that film. And I know they're pushing it out, and it's, we're going to be in a different place than we are now, as far as, as far as the months go, right? We're talking like, I think Black Widow's like what, September now, or I can't remember. I know it's pushed out though, right?
And it's going to get pushed back again, I would imagine.
And we're in a different, we're months from now, right? So maybe things will be better. People may feel safer. There may be more things in place to make people feel mentally safer. Right now, it's hard for me to comprehend that.
Me too.
And I'm just going to think, right now, I wouldn't go. Like, if you told me Black Widow was opening next month in the movie theater, I'm not going. No. I'm not going. Yeah. Sorry, I don't think it's worth the risk in going. But I think that if you, I don't know, I guess you have to check. I'll have to really check back in when it does. I saw November. I think so. Maybe November. I mean, it's a long way away, so maybe I'll feel a lot different about it, and there'll be things in place to make me feel better. But I don't know. I think they should be ready to release this on video on demand based on the temperature. And I'll bring this up. This is
Yeah.
I love how it just says Facebook user. See, this is the thing, and I got to figure out how, and I don't know if it's just an integration thing, but we know it's Chris Morswinski, and he's saying, bring back the drive-in, social distancing to the extreme, everyone in their own car, could be rad. And I will say, I know that actually here in, Victor, you probably, the Warwick Drive-In, right? Up in Warwick, New York, they are planning on it, and they're actually, I think they applied for a permit to open earlier because the governor seems to be, New York governor seems to be okay with that, considering everybody's in their car. So they're prepping it, and I think they're going to be making an announcement very soon about reopening that. And I'll be honest, I don't care what they're showing. I want to go. Like that, I'm fine with. I'll load up my car with snacks. I'm in my own car. I'll tune it to the radio. I'm good to go, just to go do something different. So I'll definitely be there. But yeah, bring back drive-in theaters. This could be a really big resurgence in that. I mean, you'd probably have to rebuild some, but some of these ones that are like, Warwick, I think is going to experience a renaissance. And I mean, they normally get packed.
Yeah. I've been there plenty of times. Yeah, I've been there plenty of times,
but they're going to be more popular than ever right now.
Yeah. Well, figure this: you could see, depending on the day, you can see 2 to 3 movies in one night on the same screen. I've seen a bunch of different things there, and we used to go to the ShopRite next door, I think it was, and pick up liquor. So
yeah, that's the other thing too. Just load up the car with booze and snacks and watch. I tell you right now, if they were showing Trolls right now in Warwick, I would drive to go watch Trolls. I would. Screw it. It's something to do. Like
a little piece of Rangers trivia for you. I bought a Mark Messier VHS tape at that ShopRite or whatever it is. And when I was being rung up, the cashier says to me, hey, my cousin used to play for the Rangers. I say, oh, yeah? What's your cousin's name? Mark Hardy? I'm like, no shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So Ken Ventry's checking in. He likes the background. I like when you float something in front of it, like it kind of like.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to get green cups, or Well, you'll have to try with green beer bottles.
Right.
See if the shade is good enough to make it look like something invisible is.
We can switch it up too. Here we go.
There you go.
Another Star Wars backdrop. Yeah. So by the way, if you go to StarWars.com, they have a ton of virtual backdrops that you can download. So it's fun if you're a nerd and a geek, which everybody in this group is. So
which we are.
Which we are total nerds and geeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just getting back to that topic and finishing that up. I mean, I it's going to be really interesting. And I mean, what Wonder Woman is pushed back to when? Is that still a summer release? Is that July?
Originally,
we talked about it in the show like a while ago, but
I believe so. But I mean, all these things, I would imagine that they're going to get pushed back. I mean,
why? I mean, and I know they spent a lot of money, and I know it always comes down to money. They spent a lot of money on these movies, and they're huge event movies. But I mean, people want to see something.
Okay, so here's the perfect example for you, or at least I think it's a perfect example. So I interviewed the guitarist of a band called Saucer a few weeks ago, and one of my questions was, did you guys ever think about delaying your album? Because Hatebreed delayed their album. There are a bunch of other people that have as well.
Yeah, I feel bad for Testament because that record is slamming, and I think it just, it came out the same time all the shit hit the fan.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is what he told me. He said that their decision to put the album out was based on the fact that if there isn't going to be any touring for a year, it's possible that they may write and release another album in that period of time. He said if they're not going out and touring, they're just going to be sitting around. And he said it would suck for them to be sitting on an album for 8 months, 12 months, and be like, all right, this is all kind of old to me now. I want to kind of get on with something new. So I look at movies in the kind of the same fashion because, you're going to have Scarlett Johansson or, whoever else is involved in all these movies, are they going to be promoting movies, a few months from now when they're actually maybe out filming something else? How is the promotional schedule going to conflict with them taking another job or doing something different? There's a lot of logistics and moving parts with all of this. And to me, it would make a lot more sense to release this stuff now. Like we're saying, video on demand, put it out, charge, as you said, $25. You want to see it, it's $25 to rent. And then when this is all done, if they break a certain amount of, a certain barrier with sales, you say, okay, well, we're going to have a limited run from this date to this date for those that want to see it in the theaters. And if it's a good movie, people will go see it. It's just easy money, in my opinion. And $25 is what the cost of 2 to 3 tickets, depends on where you're going to see the movie.
Yeah, it's really about the ticket price. What the theaters actually make the money on is concessions, because they have to spend so much money to even show these films that it's basically like, some of these theaters just break even. Like, they don't really make money in a sense on like a Star Wars movie, because Disney charges so much for them to run that film. So the real thing is all the time, the promotions, like, guys like me who buy like the tins. Oh, well, you do it too. Guys like us that buy the tins and like, I'll buy the plush freaking Kylo Ren thing because whatever. I'm in a euphoric state right now, and I'll buy the pop. And then it's like, okay, so they just got $50, $60 extra dollars on my money, but that goes to the theater. The ticket sale is kind of like that's they make very little money off the ticket sales on those big films. So it's the only way. So, when you're doing it on video on demand, it's less like you're basically just paying the studio directly. Like, here you go. Here's the money. Like, let me watch the movie. At least I think that's how it works. I'm sure there's whatever service gets their cut and all that. But I'm sure the studio's really making, they're making the bulk of the cash. So I don't know, like you think of a movie like Wonder Woman, right? And I know they want to put it in the theater, but how much more are you just going to keep pushing movies back before? And I know people still want to go see Wonder Woman. They're still going to want to see Black Widow. They're still all going to want to go see New Mutants. Talk about a movie that should be video on demand, for Christ's sake. Like New Mutants, like, for $5 I would see New Mutants. I would pay at least $15 to see New Mutants.
Right. Well, talking about, these businesses evolving, though, to your point, wouldn't it make sense for AMC or Regal Cinema or whoever else to say, okay, well, we can't have people come to us, but let's come to them. We talked about it before. Let's set up our own streaming platform or partner with a Netflix, partner with an Amazon. We're going to be the middlemen to actually do these video on demand deals with these.
Right. So it's kind of, like a joint deal. Like, okay, Universal, I'm making this up, Universal Studios and Netflix are going to partner up to deliver this film. Yeah. Warner Brothers is going to partner up with whatever, like Amazon to show Wonder Woman for a limited time, like a week or whatever. And
along the way, much like you mentioned, you're telling me that they can't sell, hey, for an additional, $10, receive in the mail, the tin, a Wonder Woman comic, all these other knickknacks related to the movie,
Well, and Amazon has the thing, I think, where, what is it, X-ray? You could buy certain things, I think, if you turn it on or something like that. This is a good, here's a good comment. This is from Bob Chalice. After you see the movie, they give you a code to see it a second time on a video on demand. And just what you just said, maybe there's a promotional tie-in with that where, you rent it on video on demand and you get a code to a unique code to buy something in the store, or a tie-in with Amazon, right? Watch this here, then go buy special comic book, the limited edition toy, the collectible
Right.
tin, or the Burger King glass set, which I wish they would just bring back again. Just start doing the glass sets again. But I mean, you could do it. Oh, here we go. Here's another good comment. So from Chris Marswinski, Universal did it with the Invisible Man remake and The Hunt, both on digital now. Both I highly recommend.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't actually watch the Invisible Man. Looked cool. I didn't watch that yet.
I haven't seen it either.
The Hunt wasn't of interest to me, but I don't know. Chris, did you do any work on either of those select films? Is that why you're pushing them?
There you
go. But yeah, exactly though. I mean, I know on Amazon you can go on and you could watch those films now. I've seen them come up in the scroll, and I would have thought there would have been more by now, because we did talk about this initially when things started happening, and this report came out of AMC, and we talked about doing video on demand. So I think I would have just thought more films would have been released in between that time since Invisible Man and The Hunt came out. But I think it could be a waiting game with the studios. I mean, they already made the announcement to push Black Widow back, and all the Marvel, all the other Marvel films are now next year. I honestly think they should test. I know I come harping on this and it's become a joke, but I mean, really, why not test it on New Mutants? You got nothing to lose at this point.
No, absolutely. So he's saying he didn't work on either. I think that the Hunt and Invisible Man, correct me if I'm wrong, but those were out in the theater when all of this happened. And like Trolls was supposed to come out the week that everything stopped.
Right.
So I think at that point they had probably spent so much in promoting the movie that they figured, well, let's give this a shot. Let's make something instead of nothing.
Yeah. I agree. And and this is, they came out a week before. I saw a double feature in a drive-in, and then when everything hit the fan, they put them on Amazon for $20 for a 3-day rental. That's not bad.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, I agree. They should for New Mutants. Bob Chalice. I mean, listen, at this point, it's become the Chinese democracy of films.
Yeah, I don't. It's interesting because we talked about this the last time, what movies they're accepting into the X-Men canon and which ones they're not. It's so funny to see that for me, that Logan, it's Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse are nowhere near Disney Plus. So
yeah, and I think that's because Dark Phoenix is still on its it's on one of, I can't remember if it was Stars or Epix or HBO. It's on one of them like right now, and maybe it's Amazon. And I think Logan is still on one of the streaming platforms as well. And Apocalypse I actually just saw, and I think that's on one. I can't remember, but I know when I scroll through things and all that. You put it out. Yeah, here we go. Put it out on VOD. Could generate it to necessitate a second one. Agreed. Bob Chalice. Could. I mean, with all the listen, the last trailer that I saw for New Mutants, I actually was like, okay, I do want to see this. Initially, it was a joke, but I'm like, okay, they did reshoots, and which is common, and maybe it's a cool film. I mean, I like the take on it that they're doing. The last trailer I saw looked cool. Way better than Dark Phoenix and any of that nonsense.
Right.
That movie is terrible.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even pay. That should have just been released free, just as an apology.
That is by far the worst movie out of that series.
Worse than Last Stand. I hate Last Stand.
Last Stand. Which one is Last Stand?
That was their first attempt at trying to do Dark Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
Well,
I mean, you can't.
That was Brett Ratner. He absolutely sucks. I haven't seen anything that except for the first two Rush Hour movies. There's like nothing else that he's worked on that's been remotely good. And he was like Michael Bay Jr. He everything he got a hold of needed to be big, needed to be done his way.
Mm-hmm.
And just the classic example of a director thinking that he knows more than 50 years worth of canon, or Dark Phoenix. Phoenix was what, from the 80s.
She was terrible. I felt bad for her too. I feel like they just
yeah, well, I mean,
she
was
bad.
So many great characters that they had and that they just totally fucked up,
Oh, the whole thing was a train wreck. It was an absolute train.
Yeah.
I actually just saw it too. Olivia Munn came out and said on Apocalypse that what's his name left the set in the middle of filming and just like disappeared. She said she had no idea what she was really doing or how because it was the first time she'd ever been in a big movie like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the director walked up the set. Let me see if I could find her exact statement here really quick. Because I read it yesterday and it was actually kind of funny.
Was Singer involved?
I think it was Singer. It was Bryan Singer. Okay. Let me see if I could get what she wrote. Here it is. Olivia Munn walking off the set. In an interview with Variety, Olivia Munn says Bryan Singer went missing while shooting X-Men Apocalypse for a thyroid issue. She says, for a long time, Olivia Munn didn't fully grasp the question. She got asked all the time in interviews. Journalists wanted to know about the difference between being a man and woman in Hollywood. And then she goes on to say, she's talking about this. And where's the point that she gets? Okay. To prove her point, Munn went on to describe a different filming experience she had. Munn appeared as the mutant Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse in the 2016 movie directed by Bryan Singer. Months before production started on the film, 2 lawsuits alleged that Singer had sexually abused underage boys. The accusations, which were later dismissed, painted the portrait of Singer as a hedonistic figurine in the entertainment industry with a questionable work ethic. According to Munn, Singer walked off the set of X-Men Apocalypse in Montreal to fly to Los Angeles for approximately 10 days to deal with a thyroid issue, leaving the production to scramble without a director. Even after that, Singer was hired by the same studio that released X-Men to direct the Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody. He was later fired for allegedly not coming to work and clashing with actor Rami Malek. Other stories followed about it. Singer had also been missing on the set of X-Men Apocalypse with reporting from anonymous sources. Here's what Munn had to say about making the X-Men with Singer. Is what she says. It's possible to work with women directors. It's the problem that I always had in the business way before the Me Too movement exposed so much. You're in it and you see these people who keep failing up and they're not that great. And you think, really? When we shot X-Men, I never shot a huge movie like that before. I didn't know what was right or wrong, but I did know that it seemed strange that Bryan Singer could check out and say he had a thyroid issue. And it goes on and on and on. And it's actually a really great interview. And, once again, another look into the entertainment industry and how it, mistreats actors and actresses. Yeah. But it's and then look at X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah. And Singer phoned it in.
Right. And the sad thing with that is that Dark Phoenix was still even worse.
Dark Phoenix was by far, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But anyway, so video on demand. We'll wrap this topic up, but I think we're going to be seeing a lot more coming out in the next few months on this topic. It'll be something that we'll be talking about more as it goes on and see what actually does get released, and maybe New Mutants will finally get released. I would not go to a movie theater to go see New Mutants. I don't think ever right now. So you have a better chance of me plunking down $15 to $20 right now to watch New Mutants than me going to the movie theater to go watch New Mutants, or making me wait to go see New Mutants till the fall. I kind of don't care that much. Not enough to go sit in a movie theater to go see it. But I would pay for it, right? I would pay video on demand for it right now.
What if after New Mutants they had a trailer for the next Star Wars trilogy, and you could only see it in the theaters?
I don't know about that. They would have to be a really good trailer.
But you wouldn't know unless you saw it.
Right, but if it's a trailer before, I'll just, I don't know. See, you're getting me there. You're making me hesitate. All right, maybe then I would go. Exclusive footage.
What have you been watching lately?
So honestly, I really, I've been watching a lot of older shows. I kind of started rewatching The League again on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
It's on Hulu, and The League is such a funny show. It's so great.
Right.
So I've been rewatching that. Rachel's been actually watching Handmaidens Tale, which I haven't watched, but she's already like a bunch of episodes in. So I she's ahead of me. I still have not caught up on Westworld. I have a bunch of episodes on Westworld that are waiting, and I don't know. I just am not. It's not doing it for me right now. I'm just not in the mood to watch it. I guess
I haven't heard positive
not in the
reviews,
mood.
and it got renewed. So I don't get it.
I know a lot of people in the group have been watching and have had some good things to say about it when I brought it up. So I will watch it. I do want to watch it. I just don't want to watch it now. I don't know. I'm just not.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Not in a headspace,
I'm like that with certain series. Yeah, I've watched. I watched the newest season of Bosch in 2 days. Absolutely love that show. I've talked about it extensively here. I mentioned to you that thanks to the Peacock launching, they're taking The Office off of every streaming service. So we're watching The Office for the first time. And and What We Do in the Shadows.
I have not started watching the second season yet, so I've been meaning it. That's been on my list.
Yeah, I have to watch the last episode, but we've been laughing our ass off with it. We love that show as well.
This is in terms of Westworld. This season is lame. That's Ariel.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, the thing that I've seen people say is that they've overcomplicated like a lot of the plot lines, and that they've tried introducing too much into the story, and that it's hard to keep up with what's going on. That it seems like the stories like aren't leading to anything, basically.
Right.
So it's not coherent storytelling.
Travelers on Netflix. I have heard about it. I have not watched it yet. I don't know if Rachel. I don't think Rachel's watched it yet either.
The Handmaidens Tale is something that we looked at seeing. We watched. I don't know if I mentioned this the last time. We watched the Night of, I believe, is the name of the series.
Right. Yes, we talked about that.
Okay.
I didn't watch it, but we were talking about that.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to Chris from Despo Geek about it, and he told me it's an 8-episode series, and he bailed around episode 6 like there was no payoff whatsoever. He was saying, and he couldn't just hang around for the last 2 episodes. So I'm like, all right. So I feel good about bailing towards the end of episode 1. So.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. I watched some. I tried to watch the Beastie Boys documentary, which I know everybody's been raving about, and I don't have Apple Plus, so I tried to watch it like in other means, and it was not streaming very well, so I'll have to go back to that in other nefarious means. Right. But I did recently watch the documentary on the band X. It's on Amazon. Okay. It's very cool. Oh, and we watched the Da Vinci Code last night just because I don't know, we wanted to watch the Da Vinci Code, and it was like, man, this is a really good movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched the third one, but the first 2 entertained me, and I mean, in the end, that's kind of what you want. I know that there are all these conspiracy theories now with baby eating Tom Hanks and stuff like that, but I still enjoy that. What else did I watch? I kind of mentioned Brockmire as well.
I'm way behind. I did not watch this season of Brockmire at all.
I'm 2 episodes behind. It is just really, really, really bad at this point. With everything that.
It was that first season. The first season's the best.
Yeah, because it's just so crude. It's so raunchy. It's so out there. Second season was okay. The third season
was okay,
where he's starting to, repent with everything and whatnot. And then fourth season, it turns out he has an illegitimate daughter, and it's all based about the relationship between him and his daughter. And it's kind of like,
over it. Yeah, Donezo. They're running out of ideas.
Yeah, it's one of these things where we're introducing Scrappy Doo. We're introducing this new younger character
from The Simpsons.
right, exactly. So, but there's other stuff that I'm looking forward to that's supposed to come out.
Devs is one I've not watched. Just to hear this comment, so. Chris Martinsky. Yeah, I heard Devs is really good. Creator of Ex Machina is one of my favorites. I've been seeing tons of stuff about Devs on YouTube. Haven't watched it yet, and I probably should start just because it looks really cool.
Right.
I was actually tempted to go back and rewatch Legion again recently too, just because it's so freaking cool. I loved Legion so much. I'm so glad they ended it too. It's just perfect.
Right. Trying to think what else.
What else you been up to watching?
Well, I watched the series finale of The Curse of Oak Island, which I watch on a weekly basis. I enjoyed it.
I started watching Cooking with Cannabis, a competition show on Netflix. It's very cool. If you like cooking competition shows, the Cooking with Cannabis show is awesome.
Well, that's funny because for me in my household, it's difficult to watch stuff when we eat because my kids, they're always talking and whatnot. So I normally watch cooking competitions while we eat. So the favorite of ours is the Chopped series. So we usually watch Chopped, or now that they have Chopped Sweets, we tend to watch that, and we try to pick out, all 4 of us try to pick out at the beginning of the show to see who we think is going to win. And then, we look, especially my wife and me, for certain triggers, who's boasting the most, who's kind of what shots they're doing, who's getting the most attention initially. So it's like, okay, this person's gone because they're just focusing on them too much. The other competition we've been watching is Lego Masters. We watched the US version.
Oh, right. I've been wanting to watch that too.
Yeah, there's Star Wars in that.
Yeah, I heard.
And we've been watching also the Australian version now. Yes. So let's see. Rambo's on Amazon Prime, and it's such mindless fun watching it twice.
I will actually agree with this.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I love the last 2 Rambo movies. I just think they're the last Rambo movie, but the one before this where he was in Thailand and was awesome. So over the top violent, so like testosterone, it's just everything you'd want. This one too is great. It's totally like Death Wish, like, and it pays off. It's the best. It's everything you wanted. It's great. It's very so. Yeah, I do. I agree with Chris. I recommend the new Rambo if you want total mindless like revenge, like Rambo style, but like Death Wish storyline.
Right.
Awesome. I agree.
That's funny. That kind of reminds me of something that I was listening to today. They were making a comparison between what movies were like in the 80s to what they're like today. So, the revenge flick was very popular back then. And they were talking about, comedies like Police Academy and Porky's and stuff like that, Revenge of the Nerds, which we talked about the other day, things like that, which there's no way would be made today. None of those.
No. Blazing Saddles made today.
No way.
Never be made today. Here's this. This is a good. Last 20 minutes is about Rambo. Last 20 minutes is Endgame Final Battle of Games. And it's true. It's totally true. People's bodies popping like zits. Ken Ventry. I'm all in on Rambo. There you go. We watched I think I talked about this last time. I think the I definitely would recommend, and I think we talked about, was the Galaxy Quest documentary. Very, very cool. Made me then want to watch, obviously, Galaxy Quest right away, but I highly, highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. Really fun to watch. Everybody who's was basically in it is interviewed. The director, I mean, everybody involved. It is really, really cool. So if you're a big fan of that movie, which Rachel and I are, it is an awesome documentary to watch. So I definitely recommend that.
Okay.
I think as we're winding down here, I think it is worth talking about bringing it all the way back to Star Wars again. It is going to be May the 4th next week.
Okay.
And, I'm probably going to start probably tomorrow with my with Star Wars stuff, because tomorrow's the first, right? Or is that, or am I?
Yes, tomorrow's
the first.
It is the first for me now.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's the first for you now. So you're in the future.
Yes.
How do you plan on celebrating May the 4th? Do you have anything you're gonna watch or throughout the weekend? Do you do anything special with the family? The kids, are they into it? Or I don't think your wife's not a Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah, she is.
Oh, she is. Okay.
Yeah, she is. And my oldest son says that Star Wars is his favorite series out of anything. Like he's got a bunch of Star Wars books, Star Wars comics, Star Wars clothes, toys.
What is his favorite Star Wars film?
Well, see, here's the thing with him, is that he likes everything. If you ask him and say,
okay,
what's your favorite thing? I like them all.
He likes them all. So he hasn't gotten to the point where he's that. God bless him, because he's not jaded.
No. And he's with Disney Plus now. We're watching all the Clone Wars episodes together. He wants to go back and watch every single movie again. We watched Rise of Skywalker a few weeks ago. So yeah, he's really into it. My youngest son is just too.
Yeah.
He's more like the Tasmanian devil. So to get him to sit down and watch something is difficult. But
does your older son have a favorite character or characters? Like, does he gravitate, or he just is, I just like them all? Or is he like, does he gravitate towards like Vader or Luke or Han, or, is he like Poe, more the newer cast? Or
I think Chewbacca is probably his favorite character out of all of them. Yeah.
That's good. That's a strong character. That's good.
But when he sees in this movie, when he saw Lando come up on screen, he's like, wow, that's Lando, and and stuff like that, because
that's cool.
Of course they've been watching, well, there's a few things. They've been watching Lego Star Wars stuff. They also love playing their Star Wars Angry Birds. So when they see people that look a lot like the characters that they've been playing with,
right, then they gravitate towards those characters.
Who it is. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
So yeah, so I'm sure we'll do something. We tend to do movie day with them on Saturdays. We let them
let them pick.
Yeah, kind of. We sometimes will pick some things for them to watch and let them choose among those things, and then there are other times where we just say, all right, you guys pick, and we just try to make it something that they haven't seen like 20 times already, because usually if you let them watch something, hey, let's watch this movie again. Well, you've watched it 20 times, then you're always asking, I want to see Clone Wars start to finish. Well, if you keep watching the same two Teen Titans Go episodes over and over again, you're never going to see Clone Wars. So
right, yeah. So there's a huge behind the scenes. Yeah. So yeah, this is Christian. This is Chris. And yeah, we talked about this. The huge behind the scenes on the Mando documentary comes out this weekend. Get to see lots of behind the scenes stuff, Baby Yoda puppet and other stuff. So yes, I am very much looking forward to watching that this weekend. That is definitely on my docket. That's like an 8-part series. That's like not, it's not like it's one and done. Like, I think they're probably going to be half-hour episodes, but that's like awesome. It's another like cool little series to look forward to on Disney Plus, and it's Star Wars related. So that's going to be cool. I think my stuff, I will be watching probably a mix. I mean, obviously I'll be watching Clone Wars. I'm going to save it for Saturday morning because it's just become a Saturday morning thing for me during the pandemic here. So I will watch that Saturday morning. I will probably work off of original trilogy stuff first, and I'll probably then watch I'll definitely be watching Rogue One. I may watch Solo. I mean, I like Solo's good. I watched it again a few times, and it's grown on me a lot more. Not a bad movie, just at all.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
And then I will watch the new trilogy again. I will watch all those. But then I'll probably come back and rewatch Empire Strikes Back on May the 4th, because I always watch Empire Strikes Back on May the 4th. I will probably watch Revenge of the Sith, because out of the prequels, it's the one that I will like say, all right, it's got enough good moments, especially too after watching Clone Wars, which I did last time. So I think watching this episode on Saturday, and if I start Revenge of the Sith after that, it just always makes Revenge of the Sith that much more impactful for me. Like, it becomes those Clone Wars episodes make Revenge of the Sith a better film, because the emotional attachment of seeing Anakin go through all that stuff, and then him, becoming a real dick in Revenge of the Sith. So I will probably that'll be sort of like my mixtape.
Gotcha.
Of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I'll probably watch Empire as well.
I may even watch The Mandalorian again too. I mean, it's just freaking awesome, and it moves. When you just watch them back to back, it moves.
I'm waiting for them to release all 10 episodes here. They're up to episode 7, I believe, and then I'll watch that again.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm looking forward to is on May 29th is the release of Star Force. Do you know what Star Force is?
That's the one. Isn't that the one with oh my God, from The Office?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Steve Carell.
And
Greg Daniels, who's behind The Office and Parks and Recreation and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So
yeah, I am looking forward to it. I hope it's going to be funny.
The other thing we're going to be getting in May also is the final 4 episodes of season 3 or 4. I'm probably messing this up, of Rick and Morty.
Yep, Rick and Morty is definitely something we are very much looking forward to in this household. My wife and I are huge Rick and Morty fans. And we both love it. I think Rachel may just love it more than I do. It's like Rick and Morty is her shit, man. She loves Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's so funny, because that's something that I think I may have told this story before, where one of my son's friends asked me, says, "Hey, dude, why don't you let your son watch Rick and Morty?" I'm like, Rick and Morty? I'm like, that's on Adult Swim. That's like 18 and over, I believe. And he's like, no, I watched that. My dad lets me watch that. And I watched the first 30 seconds of it, where Morty is dreaming about motorboating Tiffany.
Yes.
And I'm like, and I'm like, okay, definitely not for 8-year-olds.
Nope. Oh no, that show is not for the younger crowd.
Yeah. So it was so funny, because I saw his mother like 2 weeks later, and I said, "Oh, just a heads up." He said that he was watching this. You may want to look into it.
You might.
And then she goes, "Oh no." She goes, "That night he came home laughing how your son couldn't watch it. And then I started to think, why wouldn't he let his son watch this? And why are we letting him watch it? So she said, yeah, I turned it on and saw the exact same scene. And 3 minutes into the episode, I turned it off and said that him and his brother were prohibited from watching it again. But it was funny. I remembered the scene in Porky's 3, I think it was, which was part of the trailer for the movie, where the older guy is saying, it's disgusting, it's filthy, it's nauseating. Well, how much of it did you watch? Every last
second.
So it was one of those things where I started watching and I watched the whole thing, and then I watched it again with my wife.
Yeah.
And when we got towards the end, my wife was like, don't ever get me hooked on something so stupid again. I love this show. So it's so funny. There are a lot of references that we make from that all the time. So cool.
It's very good. So I think that just about does it for us.
Yeah.
And, thank you everybody for watching and commenting and participating. It makes it so much more fun. We have a great time doing it regardless, but when everybody's chiming in and, even discovering that we could bring up like the comments like that is kind of cool. I'm always discovering new things with this software here. So this is kind of neat.
There you go. In like 5 years, we'll be absolute pros with it, and we'll be pulling the shit out of our ass all the time.
I do want to figure out how to like get it so instead of just saying Facebook user, it actually has the person's like name, or unless it's a privacy thing, maybe it's that. So I'll figure it out. I joined the group for this software, which is called Be Live in Facebook. So it's a user group where everybody's giving tips and tricks. So I keep learning more stuff every day. So, so thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Feel free to share this episode. We will, of course, put it up on YouTube as well as usual. We're trying to keep up with everything, and we'll also release this as an audio podcast as well. So people can listen to it that way. And so tell all your friends about the Galaxy Geeks group. Invite them into the group. We'd love to keep it growing. If you know anybody that's into the same stuff we're all into and talking about shows and just things we love, invite them into the group. We'd love to have them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Victor, I will let you sign us off, my friend.
Excellent. Thank you for watching, or if you're hearing the audio version, listening, and we'll see you next time right here on the Galaxy of Geeks. See ya.
Pew, 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 pew.
Thank you for listening to Galaxy of Geeks Podcast. You can stream this or download any of our episodes from galaxyofgeeks.net, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or Stitcher. You can also follow Galaxy of Geeks on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks again for listening. This concludes our show.